The auction hall was louder than a storm, filled with voices of hundreds of alien species waiting to buy creatures that no one wanted. Some aliens were laughing, some were whispering, and some were only watching with cold eyes. The cages on the stage held small groups of aliens who were labeled as defective. They were weak, thin, hurt, and scared. They were sold cheaply because no one saw value in them. They were treated like trash. But on this day, the air changed when a human stepped inside the hall. His name was Evan Reed, and he walked with a calm and silent confidence that made everyone look at him. Humans rarely came to this part of the galaxy, and when they did, they never joined dark auctions like this. So the moment Evan entered, the hall fell quiet for a few seconds, as if the universe was holding its breath. Whispers began slowly. A human. Here, another voice asked, why would a human come to this place? Some aliens wondered if he was lost, others thought he was brave or stupid, but none of them knew the truth. The defective aliens inside the cages lifted their heads, shocked to see a human for the first time. They had heard stories that humans were dangerous, emotional, unpredictable, and sometimes kind. They did not know which kind Evan was. The auction master, a tall alien with 6 eyes, cleared his throat and continued with his loud voice. Next group, defective batch number 42, he shouted. The cage moved forward. Inside were 5 small aliens with shaking hands and empty eyes. The crowd did not care. Some aliens yawned, some laughed, some offered low bids just for fun. But Evan stepped closer. His boots echoed on the metal floor. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. He looked at the defective aliens not with disgust, but with something no one else had, something like understanding, something like purpose. The auction master raised his voice again, starting price, but he stopped when Evan lifted his hand. I will buy them, Evan said in a soft but clear tone. The hall froze, everyone stared at him. The auction master blinked his 6 eyes at once. By this group, he asked carefully. Evan nodded, all of them. The master laughed, thinking it was a joke. Human, they are defective, they may be dangerous, they are useless, but Evan's expression did not change. I said I will buy them, he repeated, his voice was steady like a stone. The auction master shrugged and hit the bell. Sold. The aliens in the hall whispered louder now. Why would a human buy defective creatures? Is he building an army? Is he collecting slaves? Maybe he is studying them. None of them understood, but Evan moved to the next group of cages, and before the master could speak, he said, I will buy these as well. Shock hit the hall again. Evan walked along the line of cages, and each time he saw a defective alien, he bought them. He did not hesitate, he did not bargain, he simply bought every single one. With each purchase, the crowd grew more confused, more surprised, more afraid. Some aliens moved away from him, as if he was insane. Some moved closer, trying to read his face, but Evan revealed nothing. Soon the auction master raised his voice in panic. Human, this is the last group, are you sure? Evan looked at the last cage, where a tiny alien child was holding its knees and crying silently. Evan's eyes softened. Yes, he said, I am sure. The auction master shook his head in disbelief and whispered, why would you do this? Evan finally answered, because no one else will. His voice was quiet, but it felt like thunder in the hall. The defective aliens inside their cages stared at him, not understanding what kind of human this was. They expected cruelty, they expected fear, but this human was different. As Evan finished the final purchase, a dark-armored alien walked closer and said, Human, do you know what you are doing? Evan looked at him calmly. Yes, he replied. The alien said, they are broken, they are unstable, they are dangerous. Evan stepped forward and said one line that silenced even the strongest warriors. No one is unfixable. The hall went silent again. The defective aliens looked at each other with confusion and a faint spark of hope. The other buyers grew nervous. Some felt something strange, as if Evan was hiding a secret, as if he knew something about these creatures that the galaxy had ignored. Some whispered that a human with this kind of heart could not be normal. Others whispered that he must be hiding a dark plan. Evan ignored all of them. He walked out of the hall with dozens of defective aliens following behind him, still afraid, still confused, still unsure of what this human wanted. But deep inside, a small feeling grew. Maybe for the first time in their lives, someone wanted them alive. And as Evan stepped into the light outside, a shadow passed over his face, a shadow of something he remembered, something coming, something dangerous, something connected to the defective aliens and their hidden truth, something the galaxy was not ready to face. Evan looked at the stars and whispered, "This is only the beginning." Evan led the long line of defective aliens through the dark corridor of the spaceport. The aliens followed slowly, unsure if they should trust him or run away. Every step they took filled them with fear, because no one had ever treated them as living beings before. They were always sold, beaten, or ignored, but never protected, never chosen. Evan did not speak much on the way, but he kept looking back to make sure none of them were left behind. Some aliens limped, some crawled, some shivered from cold or hunger. Evan slowed his pace so they could keep up. The aliens noticed this small kindness, and it confused them even more. Why would a human care about creatures the galaxy had thrown away? When they reached Evan's ship, the defective aliens stopped and stared. It was not a warship, not a cargo ship, but something different. It looked old but strong, patched with new metal and old scars, a ship that had seen battles and survived them. The ramp opened with a soft hiss, and warm light spilled out. Something inside the ship felt safe, something unexpected. "Come in," Evan said in a calm voice. The aliens hesitated, expecting traps or cages or experiments, but when they entered, they found soft resting pods, clean water, and food placed gently on tables. It was the first time in their lives that no one shouted at them or called them useless. One small alien with blue skin whispered, "Human, why are you doing this?" Evan looked at the creature with soft eyes, but he did not answer. Instead, he knelt beside the alien and said, "Eat first, we can speak later." His voice was warm, but a heavy tension hung around him, as if he carried a burden too big to share yet. While the aliens ate, Evan moved to the medical bay and started preparing tools, healing sprays, and scanners. He worked quietly but quickly, like someone who had done this many times before. The defective aliens watched him with wide eyes, confused by every action. They were used to pain, not healing. They were used to noise, not silence. After a while, Evan began calling them one by one. He cleaned their wounds, fixed broken limbs, and scanned their bodies. Every time, his expression grew more serious, more tense, more worried. The aliens saw this and fear returned to their hearts. Were they sick? Were they too broken? Were they dying? Evan finally whispered to himself, "It's worse than I thought," but he did not tell them why. He kept his secret close, guarding it like a weapon and a curse at the same time. One curious alien named Rin, small and bright-eyed, followed him quietly. Rin noticed that Evan checked strange symbols on a hidden screen. The screen showed galaxy maps, red warnings, and files with locked access. Rin could not read the human language fully, but one word stood out: hunted. Rin gasped softly. Evan turned quickly. "Why are you here?" he asked gently but firmly. Rin trembled and pointed at the screen. Evan took a long breath and turned it off. "You were not meant to see that," he said, but not in anger, more in sadness, more in fear. Rin whispered, "Are we in danger?" Evan looked at the small creature and gave a tired smile. "Not while you are with me," he said, but Rin could see something in Evan's eyes, something dark and heavy, something he was trying to hide from them. Evan continued checking each alien, and the more he scanned, the clearer it became to him. These aliens were not defective, they were something else, something rare, something powerful, something the galaxy would fear if it ever discovered the truth. Evan's hands shook for a moment, because he knew what this meant. He knew why the Empire wanted them erased. That night, while the aliens finally slept without fear, Evan stood alone near the ship's window. His reflection looked older, tired, and broken. He touched the glass and whispered to himself, "I have little time." His voice cracked, as if he remembered something painful, maybe someone he lost, maybe a promise he made. Behind him, the defective aliens slept peacefully, trusting him without fully understanding why, and in the silent hallway, faint footsteps echoed, as if something unseen was moving closer. Shadows flickered for a moment, and Evan's hand moved to the weapon at his waist. He did not draw it, but he stayed alert. Something was coming, something dangerous, something that smelled the truth growing on his ship. Evan whispered into the dark, "They will come for you." Then he closed his eyes, "But they will face me first." The next morning, the defective aliens woke up inside Evan's ship with a strange feeling. For the first time in their lives, they were not cold, not hungry, not chained. They looked around with confusion, as if their minds could not accept comfort so easily. Some touched the soft beds, some drank clean water again and again. afraid it might disappear. Evan watched them quietly from the doorway, his face calm but his eyes heavy with worry. He handed out small devices to each alien. "These will help you breathe better, move better, heal faster," he said. The aliens stared at the devices with fear, expecting pain, but when they used them, warmth spread through their bodies, their breath became steady, their muscles relaxed, some even cried softly from relief. No one had ever fixed them before, no one had ever tried. Rin walked up to Evan and asked in a small voice, "Are we safe now?" Evan hesitated before answering. His silence made Rin's heart tighten. "We are safe for now," Evan finally said, "but the galaxy is not quiet." Rin did not understand the meaning, but he felt the heaviness in Evan's tone, like a storm waiting behind a thin door. Later, Evan gathered them in the main room of the ship. The defective aliens stood close together, shaking slightly. Evan faced them with a serious expression. It was time to tell them something, not everything, but enough to prepare their hearts. "You have been told your whole lives that you are defective," Evan began. His voice was low, slow, almost sad, but that was a lie. The aliens looked at each other in shock, their eyes wide, their breathing uneven. A purple-skinned alien whispered, "If we are not defective, then what are we?" Evan looked at them one by one, as if trying to carry their pain inside him. "You are rare," he said softly. "You are different in ways that the galaxy does not understand." Silence fell in the room. The ship hummed quietly beneath their feet. "If we are rare, why did they throw us away?" a small voice asked. Evan took a deep breath. "Because the galaxy fears what it cannot control." The aliens felt a cold fear spread through their bodies. They had never been told anything like this. They had never imagined their broken label was hiding something bigger. Rin stepped forward. "Human, what did you see on that screen yesterday?" Rin's voice trembled, but he needed to know. Evan stared at him, then turned to the rest. "You all deserve to know," he said. He touched the wall panel, and a hologram flickered to life. It showed galaxy maps marked with red zones, warning signals, and images of different alien species. "These are the ones like you," Evan said, "rare variants." The defective aliens gasped. They saw creatures with strange powers, bright patterns in their eyes, unusual energy inside their bodies. They looked like them, not broken but special, glowing with something unseen. The truth hit them slowly, painfully, beautifully. "You are not mistakes," Evan said, "you are evolutions." A deep silence filled the room. Some aliens cried, some shook, some held their hands in disbelief. Their whole lives they were told they were useless, broken, unwanted, but now a human was telling them they were something worth protecting, something worth saving. But the hologram changed, and darkness filled the room again. It now showed warships, Empire symbols, ruthless soldiers. "The Empire is hunting every variant," Evan explained. "Anyone who is different, anyone who can change the future." Fear returned stronger than before. The defective aliens were not just unwanted, they were targets, hunted like animals, erased from history. "Why?" an alien whispered between tears. Evan stepped closer to them. "Because you carry abilities the Empire cannot predict," he said. "Your bodies can adapt, your minds can grow, your energy can evolve." The aliens shook in shock and fear. "But we are weak," another alien said. "We cannot fight." Evan knelt beside them. "You are weak because no one gave you a chance to grow," he said gently, "but weakness is not permanent." Before anyone could speak, the ship's alarms suddenly beeped. A red light flashed across the room. Evan rushed to the control panel, his face turned pale. "They found us," he whispered. The defective aliens froze, their hearts pounding in terror. Outside the ship, giant shadows moved, dark shapes floating silently in space like predators. The Empire was here, sooner than Evan expected. Rin grabbed Evan's arm, shaking. "What will happen to us?" Evan looked at them with fierce determination, something strong burning behind his tired eyes. "You will live," he said. "As long as I breathe, you will live." The defective aliens felt something rise inside them, not fear, not weakness, but hope, a small spark glowing for the first time. Evan turned to face the approaching danger, whispering to himself, this was always going to happen. The defective aliens watched him, realizing this human was not saving them out of pity, but out of something deeper, something connected to his past, something he had not told them yet. The ship trembled as the Empire closed in, and Evan whispered into the rising storm, "They think you are broken, but they have no idea what you truly are." The ship shook again as the enemy signals grew stronger. every defective alien felt the vibration through the floor, a deep rumble like a monster breathing outside their safe walls. Evan moved fast, checking controls, locking systems, and preparing shields. His calm face was gone now, replaced with sharp focus and silent fear. The defective aliens watched him, their weak bodies trembling as the shadows of Empire ships covered the windows like dark wings. Outside, 3 massive warships circled like hunters around prey, their engines glowed red, their weapons ready. Their message flashed across Evan's screen: surrender the defective variants. Evan's jaw tightened. He whispered, "No," as if the word itself was a shield, but the Empire did not care for courage, only control. The defective aliens crowded behind Evan, their small voices shaking. "They will take us, they will hurt us, they will kill us." Evan turned to them, his eyes burning with a fierce promise. "Not while I'm here," he said. His voice was low, but strong enough to hold their fear in place. Even so, he could see doubt in their eyes, doubt caused by a lifetime of pain. Rin stepped forward. "Human, how did they find us so fast?" Evan hesitated, then sighed. "Because they were never far," he said. "These ships follow any rare signature, and you all shine like stars to them." The defective aliens lowered their heads, ashamed of something they did not choose. Evan knelt down so he could look into their eyes. "This is not your fault," he said. "You were born to be more, and they fear that." Before he could say more, the ship shook again, harder this time. The Empire had fired a warning shot. The lights flickered, systems blinked, and the defective aliens gasped. Evan ran to the cockpit and started powering the engines. "Hold on," he shouted. The ship roared, shaking as it lifted off the docking platform and soared into open space, chased immediately by the Empire ships. The defective aliens held on to seats and railings as the ship tilted sharply. Evan dodged plasma shots, weaving through asteroid fragments, space dust, and broken satellite pieces. His hands moved fast, precise, trained by something in his past he never spoke about. His voice stayed calm, even as danger grew closer. "Stay low, stay quiet, stay together," he said. The Empire ships were faster, stronger, deadlier, and they were closing in. One warship fired a blast that shook Evan's ship from front to back. A small alien screamed as sparks flew from a panel. Evan rushed to shield the alien with his own body. "I've got you," he whispered, pulling them close before returning to the controls. The defective aliens could see it now. Evan was not just brave, he was protecting them with everything he had, but he could not win a direct fight. He knew it, they knew it, the Empire definitely knew it. Suddenly, the ship's alarm beeped again. Evan looked at the radar and cursed under his breath. 2 more enemy ships were approaching from the left. They were surrounded, trapped with nowhere to run. The defective aliens cried out in fear, "We can't escape, we will die, they are too many." But Evan turned to them with a strange look. It was not fear, not anger, but something like hope. "You are not defenseless," he said softly. The aliens froze, confused. Evan pressed a hidden button, and a panel slid open, revealing a floating sphere glowing with soft blue light. "This device reads energy patterns," he explained. "Yours are unstable, but powerful." Rin shook his head. "We don't have power," he whispered. "We are weak." Evan placed his hand on the sphere, and the blue light changed, showing faint shapes of each defective alien, glowing with colors they had never seen. "You are not weak," Evan said. "You were never allowed to grow." The aliens stared at their glowing images. Each spark of light inside them felt warm, strange, frightening. They had lived their whole lives believing their powers were defects, curses, reasons for rejection. Now a human was telling them they were gifts, rare gifts that could change everything. The ship shook again as another blast hit the shields. Evan turned quickly. "I need your help," he said. "All of you." The defective aliens looked terrified. "What can we do?" one asked. Evan pointed at the glowing sphere. "You can do what the Empire fears most," he said. "You can awaken." A pulse of light shot through the ship, and for the first time, the defective aliens felt something deep inside them open, something soft, something strong, something sleeping for years. Their bodies trembled, their eyes glowed faintly, their hands sparked with small traces of energy. They gasped, not in pain, but in shock. Evan smiled, relieved. "Good," he whispered, "you're starting to feel it." But there was no time left. The Empire ships prepared a final shot, a deadly one. The defective aliens felt fear rise again, but now something else rose with it, a strange fire, a strange strength. Evan stepped between them and the window where enemy ships hovered. "This is your moment," he said, "not to fight for death, but to fight for your future." Outside, the weapons of the Empire glowed brighter, charging for destruction. Inside, the defective aliens' bodies glowed too, awakening with new light, stronger and brighter than anything they had ever felt. And between both forces stood a single human, ready to protect them until his last breath. The Empire's final shot charged brighter than a star, lighting up the darkness of space with a deadly glow. The defective aliens huddled together, trembling as fear and new energy mixed inside their bodies. Evan stood in front of them, blocking them with his own body. His heart pounded hard, but his face remained steady, calm, unbroken. He whispered, "Breathe, focus, trust yourselves." The defective aliens closed their eyes, trying to feel the strange fire inside them. For years, this power felt like pain, like sickness, like something wrong, but now it felt warm, alive, ready. It was like their souls were waking up for the first time. Rin raised his small hands, watching blue sparks glow between his fingers. His breath shook. "Human." "I can feel something," Evan nodded, "then let it out," he said gently, not in fear, but in strength. The ship trembled again as the Empire prepared to fire. Evan saw the countdown start on his screen. 10 seconds, 9, 8, he whispered, "Come on, little ones, believe in yourselves." His voice cracked with hope and desperation. 7 seconds, 6, 5. And then something changed in the air. A soft humming sound spread through the room. The defective aliens lifted their heads, their eyes glowing in different colors, red, blue, gold, silver. Their bodies shimmered, not with weakness but with energy shaped by emotion. For the first time, they were not shaking from fear, they were shaking from power. Rin stepped forward, light glowing from his chest like a rising sun. "We are not broken," he whispered. Another alien beside him said, "We are not useless." A third said, "We are not defective." Their voices trembled but carried a new fire. Evan felt his chest tighten with pride. "No," he said softly, "you are not." The countdown reached 3, 2, 1. The Empire fired their deadly blast. A giant beam of red energy shot straight toward Evan's ship, faster than thought, brighter than fire. The defective aliens cried out together, their voices merging into one wave of emotion, fear, hope, pain, life. Everything inside them burst outward in a single moment. A massive shield of pure glowing energy exploded from their bodies, filling the ship with blinding light. The beam hit the shield with a crash like thunder, shaking the entire space around them. Evan stumbled but did not fall. His eyes widened as he watched the impossible happen. The defective alien's shield held the shot back, their energy pushing, stretching, crackling with unbelievable force. Outside, the Empire ships shook under the pressure, their systems flickered, alarms blared, the officers inside them shouted in panic, "This cannot be, variants do not have this power, how are they resisting?" But the defective aliens were not just resisting, they were awakening. Their shield grew brighter, stronger, deeper. It pushed the Empire's attack backward, inch by inch, until the deadly beam bent, cracked, and shattered like glass. The explosion rocked the Empire ships, sending 2 of them spinning away, damaged and smoking. The third ship tried to escape, engines roaring, but the defective aliens were not done. Their power surged again, guided not by anger but by survival. The shield burst outward in a shockwave, hitting the last warship and shutting down its engines completely. The great vessel drifted helplessly in the dark, defeated by those it once called defective. Inside Evan's ship, the glowing light slowly faded. The defective aliens collapsed to their knees, exhausted but alive, shocked by their own strength. Evan rushed to them, holding Rin gently. "You did it," Evan whispered, tears forming in his eyes. "You finally saw who you are." Rin looked up at him with weak but bright eyes. "Human, we saved ourselves." Evan nodded. "Yes," he said softly, "and you saved me too." The defective aliens gathered around him, hugging him, crying, shaking from what they had done, from what they had survived, from what they had discovered inside themselves. The galaxy would never believe this story, never believe that the weakest, the rejected, the broken ones had defeated an Empire attack with their own awakening power, but Evan believed, he always believed, even when no one else did. As the ship finally quieted, a soft voice asked, "Why did you help us, Evan?" Evan looked at them with a gentle smile. "Because long ago," he said, "someone saved me when I was weak." His eyes grew distant, remembering something painful, and I made a promise, that when I found others like you, I would never let the galaxy break them again. The defective aliens understood now. Evan did not save them because they were rare, he saved them because he knew the pain of being seen as less, he saved them because he believed in second chances, he believed in them even before they believed in themselves. Outside the window, the stars shone brighter, clean and wide, the Empire's ships drifted silently, defeated, and powerless. Evan placed his hand against the window, breathing slowly. "This is only the beginning," he whispered. Behind him, the defective aliens stood tall, glowing faintly with new strength. They were no longer broken, no longer hunted, no longer forgotten. They had a future now, a purpose, a protector, and a human who would fight the galaxy for them, or with them. Evan smiled at them. "Let's go," he said, "the universe needs to know you are not defective." Rin smiled back, "We are extraordinary." And for the first time, they all believed it.